All eyes are on South Africa and New Zealand as they gear up to battle it out at the 2023 Rugby World Cup final on Saturday. This will be at the Stade de France in Saint-Denis, France. The two teams will clash for a second time in a World Cup final. SABC News reporter Simon Burke and video journalist Themba Ntshobodi are covering this story. Simon, a good morning to you. I know that talk to us a little bit right now about how the team is looking in France as we get closer and closer to Saturday.
Yeah, it's very quiet here. It's a Monday morning. Paris is waking up. The traffic is busy. The Springboks, well, they're embedded in the French countryside. We'll be off to see them later today. They'll have an open training for the media. That's when we'll be able to assess what the casualty list is like from the England match over the weekend. But they're staying well away from the city centre. They're focused on the job at hand. They've got New Zealand. New Zealand, obviously, they played their semi-final a day earlier, so they had a day off this weekend. And by all accounts, the players went on a bit of a sightseeing jaunt. Ardie Savia was seen at a cafe on the Champs-Elysees. That's not the kind of thing that we see from the Springboks. Springboks don't really take a day off, especially not when they're in camp, and especially not when they want to be inconspicuous and concentrate on the final. But it seems that the All Blacks wanted to take a different route and give their players time to detox before they also have to prepare for their great foe in the Southern Hemisphere. These two teams obviously going to be facing off at the Stade de France, that imposing national stadium here in Paris. And the Springboks, well, they'll have a press conference as well after the training, and that's when we'll hear exactly what's going on in the camp, because there's been a lot of noise around the camp, mainly from the English press. That was a little story there, I think designed to kind of get one over the Springboks after the victory over the English. It's interesting because normally the English try to unsettle before the match. This time they also tried afterwards, but by all accounts clutching at straws, and it hasn't done anything to create any sort of destabilization in the Springbok camp.
Yeah, what exactly was that story then that you feel was clutching at straws afterwards? Will you break that down for us?
Well, they've got a player called Tom Curry who decided he wanted to have a chat with the referee, as is the English players want. Our players a lot more disciplined. They don't just go up to the referee and have chats. However, this one decided he did, and he wanted to go and tell tales. Sir, this player called me that. We don't really know if that is exactly what happened. And then no report was made of that, no complaint was lodged, and nothing came of this. What did happen, though, is that the English press then left all over the story and decided that Bongi Mbonambi had in fact leveled a spurious claim against Mr. Tom Curry, and he was most aggrieved by that. The referees asking Mr. Curry, please don't act on this. But again, the Springboks communicate to each other in Afrikaans, and the said phrase or something around that phrasing could easily have been misconstrued, but it possibly and it probably was an Afrikaans phraseology. Again, though, this is the English, and we got rid of them. We got rid of that Northern Hemisphere distraction, and now we're onto the Southern Hemisphere, and it's a little bit more gentlemanly. It's going to be just as tough, if not tougher, but we don't generally get that many tricks up the sleeve in that respect, off the field kind of incidents from the New Zealanders. We just pray, of course, that there's no South African chef involved in their catering at all this weekend, because we don't want them to have another incident involving somebody called Susie and some food poisoning that happened all the way back in 1995. Yeah,
let's talk a little bit about the prospects of Mbonambi possibly not playing in the final. This is, of course, after just unpacking on the story that you've just touched on as well, Simon. The allegations that Mbonambi may have hurled a racial slur at Tom Curry. I mean, what would that mean for the team if Bongi Mbonambi is not part of that setup for the final on Saturday?
At the moment, there's no talk of that. Those are merely speculation. Bogi Bonambi, barring a catastrophic injury, is going to be part of the team. He is one of the leaders in the pack, and that's how it stands. And then in terms of our cover, we have Dion Fourie, and he'll step in. He used to play hooker. He converted to the back line, the back row player. He'll step back into the hooker berth. But Bongi Bonambi is pivotal in our pack. He's right there in the heart of everything that the Springboks do, and it would be inconceivable to think of not having him present. Of course, if the worst case scenario were to happen, and if something were to run afoul, then we would have contingency plans that wouldn't be ideal. They wouldn't be ideal by a long shot, but at this stage of the tournament, it's all hands on deck, and it is about squad management and using every resource at your availability. And the coaching staff would have seen that this might happen, and although they are stretched a little thin in that department, it's something that they would have known. And all these guys who go into battle, they've got one singular focus. So Dion Fourie, who performs admirably for the Stormers and for other teams at an elite level, this would be the big stage for him to take it on.
All right. Well, and just quickly before I let you go, Simon, I can just imagine just the FOMO that South Africans are having, you know, with the fact that you are there in Paris, you know, able to see the match on Saturday live in action. Talk to me about just the presence of South Africans and the, you know, the Gees and what that's looking like in Paris at the moment.
That's the nice thing about the South Africans abroad, is they're a very friendly bunch, and they all get on with each other, and they light up the French avenues. People are very impressed by the Springboks, by Siya Kolisi, by everyone associated with the team, and that brings with it a level of bon vivre. There's an amicability where there isn't any antagonism, and that's key for the South Africans. We don't go to these foreign countries to create enemies. We go there to establish friendships, and that's what we see with the South Africans. They might congregate and everyone look like they're wearing their green and gold, but it's not a foreboding atmosphere. It's not like when you see a group of Englishmen congregating around a pub and only the bravest would go and approach them and find out how is everybody. Here with the South Africans, it's a lot more friendly, a lot more convivial, and the host nation has really taken to us.
Yeah.
They've really they've accepted the loss in the quarterfinal, and they've moved on, and now they have offered their support to South Africa. And I think for everybody in the rugby community and everybody who is going to tune into this match, we just want to see an incredible occasion. And if you wanted to, you know, pinpoint two teams that could probably deliver that, it would be South Africa versus New Zealand.
Yeah.
Because on any stage, in any tournament, in rugby, when these two teams meet, it is the cream of the crop.
Right.
You won't be thinking, oh, but I wonder if what would happen if this team was here. No, it's New Zealand and it's South Africa. It's the benchmark for rugby, and it's going to be played in an incredible ground, a neutral venue, a venue where South Africa has had success in the past, considerable success, but just a great advertisement for the game. And people at home, right to feel left out, but it's a great week coming up.